Alright, so here we are running the little code reader on the Jeep. Actually I have 3 codes. The one that we're addressing right now is, well, this is a minor evap leak. So this is what I'm going to have to do later. That one is P0133. That's the slow, unresponsive oxygen sensor. So that's what we need to address here. We're going to go ahead and put in a new bank one, which is driver side oxygen sensor. Oh, that's a major evap leak. So we're not going to do that today because we need a smoke machine to figure out where the leak's at. But anyways, that's the one we're worried about right there. So let's replace the sensor. Well, before we install this part, we're going to kind of do a little quick review of the part. So we have a code, oh geez, what is it? P0133, I believe, which is slow response oxygen sensor, something like that. Basically the oxygen sensor switches back and forth, and the signal switches like positive, negative, and this sensor here is slow to respond to the input that's coming from the engine exhaust. And this one right here is a factory sensor. It has a 10-digit, well, 8-digit with 2 A's on the end. Usually the Chrysler part numbers end with AA or AB or something like that. Oh, did I mention this is for the 3.7 Jeep? Yeah. So that's an original one. I don't know, it's probably been replaced before, I would imagine. The vehicle has 178,000 miles on it, and I think it was dealer maintained, so it was probably replaced at the dealer. So anyways, we had our blown head gasket problem, and I think that fried this sensor because it just happens to be the sensor on the bank one where the head gasket was blown, and it has all this crusty buildup on it. So the slow responding sensor needs to get replaced. And actually, if you look at it closely, it's also stamped NTK. So NTK is the factory sensor supplier. It's the OE supplier, and which is a branch of NGK, the spark plug company. And so basically, you don't have to go spend all that money at the dealer. You can just go to the parts store and just look for an NTK, and it's going to be the same thing. So here you go. Here's the aftermarket version. I don't know, the wire's longer. I don't even know why. I hope they gave me the one for the correct side. But yeah, so either way, we'll just tie it up. It's got the same connector. Usually from left to right, that's the only difference on these sensors, is just the length of the wire. There's no reason for the sensor itself to be any different. So you can see the design is the same. And then see, if you look at this one, same NTK stamp, and it's stamped Japan. So interestingly enough, a lot of American cars, electronics are made in Japan. So yeah, this one only cost me, geez, a little over 40 bucks. And I don't even know how much it cost to the dealer, probably a lot more. So we're gonna go ahead and install the new sensor on the Jeep and clear that code. All right, so here we are doing the oxygen sensor replacement. This is bank one, sensor one, so it's the driver's side. It's the first sensor, which is in the exhaust manifold before the catalytic converter there. This is the connector. It's already disconnected. Basically, it's very hard to reach and see for the camera view if we still had it connected. This factory sensor is very short, and you actually have to disconnect it back, kind of back down below the exhaust manifold, so you can't even see it. But here we have it. It's just a simple, you just press the little connection on the other end and pull them apart. The new aftermarket sensor has a longer wire, so instead of running it right under the manifold where it's all hot, gonna run that longer wire around the steering shaft, and I think I'm gonna tuck it behind these brake lines here and then zip tie it out of the way of the steering shaft, which is this, and the exhaust, so it's gonna be in a safer place out of the way. Yeah, for some reason the aftermarket one comes quite a bit more wire. It's quite a bit longer than the factory one. So anyways, that's once we get the new one in. To get the old one out, which is very tricky to see, it's what I did is I removed both fans, the mechanical fan and the electric fan. So now I have all this room to reach under here, and that's how I got to the wiring and disconnected it. And then the next part is getting the sensor out. I almost thought I had to remove the manifold completely to get it out, but if you use some extensions, you can actually get around that if you have the right tools. So I got this offset oxygen sensor wrench. I have a wobble extension here so that you see it wobbles, it moves. And then I have another extension hooked to that. These are 1/2-inch extensions, and I'm gonna run them down in under the exhaust manifold. It's tricky because you really can't quite see what you're doing, which is always fun. But yeah, so I run it down along under the exhaust manifold, and then what we got to do is feel our way over to the sensor. Oh, there it is. And line up the tool with the sensor. And once you do that, I don't know, can you see that down there? Kinda. Well, at least if we can get the idea. So, this is hard holding the flashlight. I'm gonna have to set this down. Oh, that's screwed. So, maybe I can put it in there. So, we gotta line up the tools with the sensor down here. See if I can get it. I'm just feeling my way. Oh, there we go. So you gotta get the wire through the slot on the socket. You gotta be careful because you might, if you don't line this up just right, you could run the risk of stripping out the edges, rounding out the edges, I should say, on the sensor. So I got it lined up, which I couldn't see. I just felt my way into it. And so over here, right below the power steering pump, the way I have it set up, the extension is sticking out there. And then I use my 1/2-inch ratchet here, and then boom, knock it loose, which I already got knocked loose, but can't see too much of it. But there is the extension and the ratchet. And so yeah, basically you're knocking it loose like that. And then once you got it loose, there's probably not a lot of room to rotate that offset socket for the oxygen sensor. But at this point, I just take everything out, and then now that it's loose, you can go down below the vehicle and take the sensor out. Or maybe I could even reach it from up top, I don't know. Let's see if I can. It's hard to even get your arm in here.
I think it's easier from down bottom.
Yeah, see, I can barely touch it. I could reach enough to... Luckily, this one wasn't in very tight. If you got issues with rust and corrosion, this might be quite the pain. But yeah, it's too hard to reach down in there. It's such a tight fit in here. So down below, crawling under the vehicle is a lot easier way to actually finally remove the sensor. Okay, so here we're just wrapping up what we did. So the sensor, I went down below, removed the old one, and then hand threaded the new one. Then I ran the wire, since it's longer, I ran it down around along the frame, away from the exhaust and away from the steering shaft. So it's running along the frame, and then here's where it connects over here, and then I just zip tied to this main harness just to keep it out of the way. So, you know, well, it's out of harm's way now. And now we'll clear the code and take it for a test drive. Alright, so we have a brand new oxygen sensor installed, and we're going to clear the code and take it for a test drive, make sure the code doesn't come back. Ah, there we go. So should show no codes. There we go. So now we'll drive the vehicle and hope for the best. Cross your fingers.